Hello my dear friends of symphonic brass music, and welcome to the follow-up to last week. And today we're going to talk about the 5 most underrated gear-ish thingies in a studio. And I'm going to start with something that's really, really important for me, and I got my head into it really, really much because I think it's so damn important. And not many people think about this. And this is acoustic treatment. I think it's even more underrated in tracking spaces than it is in control mixing spaces. Because, I mean, obviously you need a good acoustic environment to mix in, but you also need a very, very, very good acoustic environment to track in the first place. Because you cannot EQ that much out of signal if your room sounds crappy. So if your room is boomy, your kick drum will sound boomy. And so on and so forth. So I think acoustic treatment, proper made acoustic treatment, is really, really, really important. And you don't necessarily need to go for these plans that I did with acoustic, highly regarded, and it's really, really awesome. But I don't think you necessarily need to go that route. If you want to, I think that's very, very helpful to get a really, really good solution out of it. But if you don't want to spend the money, that's obviously fine. But make your head around it, how you can improve your acoustical treatment, and go for it. Put bass traps in your control room, put absorbers in your control room in a proper manner. Not just put everything dead with these foam thingies, but make it proper and get your head around that. There are a lot of helpful threads in various forums. If you like, we can have a discussion in the Facebook group, which you can access through Patreon, a link in the description and on the end below. So yeah, I think acoustical treatment is something no one talks about, because people always say, well, yeah, I buy my next pair of speakers, and I buy a new pair of headphones, and I need this software that my mixes get better. Yeah, maybe you just need a bass trap. Maybe you just need a broadband absorber. Maybe you just need a diffuser. No one talks about this, and I worked in a music store, as you might know, for 4.5 years. And people bought speakers, they bought cables, they bought whatever to make their mixes better. But I can hardly remember any talk about buying acoustical treatment to make their mixes better. So I think this is something really, really underrated in studios. The second thing really, really underrated are instruments. Seriously. It's so important to have a proper instrument for what you want to do in the studio. So if you're doing beats, be sure you have the right tools on hand, the right samples, the right virtual instruments if you're working in the box, the right synth, which you can work on, which you can get a proper sound of, which you feel comfortable on, which sounds good, which is in good shape. And if you are a guitar player, be sure you have strings, new strings available all the time, and everything works, and everything is in proper shape, and nothing is broken. And if you have drums, that you have skins around, that you have proper cymbals, there's sticks are lying around, new sticks, and all this stuff, that your instrument in itself is in good shape, so what you record or use in the first place is absolutely on its highest level it can be. That doesn't mean that your drum set, guitar, synth, whatever needs to be massively expensive, but it just means that it needs to be in good shape and on its highest level it can be. The third thing on my list is comfort. I have a couch here, I have a couch over there, I have several couches over in the tracking room. I have chairs lying around, I have carpets lying around, I have this floor, and I have a air condition here, and I have a coffee machine and everything like this. is here not only because I want it, but because I want people to feel comfortable here. And if people feel comfortable in here, they will perform better. They will use the space more happily and stay here for longer and work with me more in detail than they would if it's just a crap hole. I mean, it's not the cleanest place of all time. Need to clean up in a bit, but just a bit dust running around. But if you don't feel comfortable, you want to leave the place ASAP. So you will not work on music as much because you just want to go. If your place is comfortable, people like just to hang around. I've people here that just spend the session and then sit here for an hour and we just chat because it's comfortable. And I have a coffee. And people tend to like my coffee. So people stay here for longer as they necessarily need to be here. And this is something good because that means people like it here. And people feel comfortable here, so they will perform better. So make sure your studio is comfortable. The fourth thing is about you as a mixing, recording, music producer, engineer, whatever. Ear training and ear protection. It's so underrated that it's so important that these two thingies and this wobbly thing in our head is the thing we work with. That's 100% the thing we work with. We don't work with our hands. I mean, we use a mouse and instruments and putties with our fingers, but it all happens in here. Decisions are made in here based on what we hear with these. So make sure your ears are protected and you are on the highest skill level depending frequency hearing and everything, noticing everything as high as it can be. Because that way you will be able to do better, to make better decisions, to make better mixes, to move faster, to be more reliable, and so on and so forth. So if you're not like me and you go to concerts, if it's not the pandemic going on, make sure to wear ear protection, and also to train yourself on a regular basis, like listening to frequencies, listening to music, but not just listening to music, but dissecting music and trying to train your ear. And last but not least, on my most underrated list is these thingies, hard drives. This is my backup hard drive. I'm gonna do a backup in a bit, which I do every day when I come in. And backups are so important, and not many people talk about it. Computers might break. And you also might do something you don't want to put an update on, you should not have done, and so on and so forth. And then everything is lost. And you just can't tell the clients. That's not... I mean, obviously you can. It's physically possible to tell someone, sorry, your session is lost because I made a mess. But that's just not the words you want to say to a client giving you money for mixing and producing or whatever. So having a backup ready is always good, always necessary, and will help you out in so many situations. And it's something I think not many people talk about, and it's not that big of a deal like it is to have the next €3,000 preamp, like I said in the video before. If you haven't seen that video, I put a link down to this in the show notes. No, not show notes. What's it called? In the cards, wherever they are, I can't tell. Up here. If you want to see more of these videos, or if you have, first and foremost, if you have something that's underrated in your opinion, leave it down in the comments below. If you want to see more of these videos, and I have a bunch of stuff I want to do, it's just a bit different like I did before, but I'm going to continue with the stuff, talky, running around videos. I'm going to do both. yeah, be sure to hit that subscribe button. This is something I wanted to say. And I just changed a bit around on my Patreon page, so be sure to check that out. There are mix reviews, 101 guides through your mixes, sort of tutorial-ish stuff. I'm gonna produce special mixing tutorial videos just for people on Patreon, which is coming out once a month, and some stuff lying around. Just be sure to check that out. There will be a link in the description below as well, and on the in the ending. So thanks very much for watching. See you soon. Bye.